I stand in solidarity.
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 On behalf of the Campus Community Council and from the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, I want to express how deeply saddened I am and alarmed by the recent murders of Asian American women in Atlanta, Georgia. My heart goes out to the APIDA community, as recent acts of violence have left the community shaken. We must condemn all forms of anti-APIDA racism, hate, bias, and violence.
The university staff, faculty, and administrators are aware of the continuing rise of anti-Asian and anti-Asian American sentiment throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. We are following the events as they are reported in the media. As a member of the Asian American and Pacific Islander community, I encourage us all to please take the time and space needed to process our feelings. Furthermore, please reach out to campus support services. We are here to listen and support you. We, the UCSB community, strongly denounce such events and stand by your side. It is important that we continue to reject racism and xenophobia, because if we allow such horrific events to happen in our space, we become passive promoters.
Recent anti-Asian violence and now the attacks in Atlanta leave me filled with rage, horror, sorrow, weariness, and grief. On behalf of the API Task Force, we denounce and condemn anti-Asian violence, bigotry, and dehumanization of Asian Americans across the country and across the world. To the families and to those who are taking in these experiences personally, vicariously, or otherwise, our hearts go out to you. We care about your well-being and we wish to support you. Until the ideology and mechanisms of white supremacy are abolished, none of us are safe. At best, we are just waiting until it is our turn to be in the crosshairs of bigotry and violence.
Anti-Asian hate crimes have increased by 1,900% since the beginning of COVID. There have been over 3,000 reports, many of which were crimes directed specifically at the elderly. On behalf of the Educational Opportunity Program and the Multicultural Center at UC Santa Barbara, we stand in solidarity with our Asian Pacific Islander Desi American community. We stand in solidarity with girls and women in our society and throughout the world subjugated under male dominance and state-sanctioned violence. And we are resolutely steadfast in our commitment opposing anti-Asian violence and all forms of oppression, hatred, injustice, intolerance, and white supremacy.
The staff of the CARE office know these acts of hate can leave us feeling powerless. We all play a role in ending acts of violence and hate in our community. By engaging in active bystander behaviors when we witness harm, we can create a more inclusive and safe world. Here are some tips to intervene. Act. Approach the targeted person and introduce yourself. Ask what they need before taking any action. Accompany. Monitor the situation and offer the targeted person to be with you. Offer. Follow up with any emotional support that you can provide. Let them know that they are not alone and that professional help is here for them.
I am sickened by the rampage in Atlanta that resulted in 8 people being killed, 6 of whom are Asian women. This was a rampage of anti-Asian racism, misogyny, white supremacy, and gun violence. Each of those factors is lethal and needs to be addressed with activism and outrage. I stand in solidarity with UCSB's Asian American, and Pacific Islander community.